Okay, in this section of the video, we're going to talk a little bit about how players create and construct their personalized deck, play deck. The first thing you do is remove the wildcards from a tech deck. If you're playing in the basic version, you're going to use one tech deck. If you're playing the advanced version, you have two. You want to take out some factory cards because those are the cards that allow you to play the other cards. So they make they're the economic engine of the deck. And you want a few low value ones, and in this deck, the strategy of this deck is a lot of low value cards. So because you can play up to two cards in the markets each turn, the low value cards, you have a higher chance of playing two cards in a turn. And if you don't want to spend too much time thinking about it, you can also just simply play the 1 through 6 value cards. So I have here basically the 1 through 6 of service, of knowledge, and of science as a deck. Over here I have a different deck that I've put together. Again, it's using a mixture of high and low value cards, the 1 through 5 of technology and the 11, 12, and 13 of technology, which are again the factory cards. The first thing you do, of course, is remove the wild cards, just like the other deck there. And here we have the 1, 2, 3, 11, 12, and 13 of service, of science, and of knowledge. And those 26 cards will form the other deck. In this case, I have different kinds of sleeves. I have matte back sleeves and the non-matte back sleeves. So and that allows me to easily tell the cards apart. And additionally, each player can also bring 15 cards as a contribution to a communal market deck. So the cards in this deck that are not being used will be 15 of these cards will form part of the market deck, and together with the other players' 15 card contribution, those together will form a 30 card market deck when the play starts. Hi, welcome to a playthrough video of Gears of Industry. I have here with me to my playtesters Henry and Rich. Okay, and we're going to walk through setting up the game and playing through a couple turns. So when you set up the game, you saw already how we personalize the decks. We're going to each determine a first player. They're both going to roll dice to determine who goes first. And we get a 5. They both got a 5. Okay, and so Rich is going to go first. And then we've already we talked about forming a market deck, so we have a market deck ready to go, and then we're going to set up the two markets, and the two markets are denoted with, we're just using a piece of paper. So we're going to deal out the two neutral market cards into the market. Okay, and each player starts with 3 technology cards, which they've dug out of their player deck, of value 5 or less, so they have those already. That forms the base of their hand, and then they're each gonna have their player decks, their personalized player decks. They've shuffled them already, so they're gonna draw 4 cards from them. Okay, and now we're just gonna go first, and the turn order goes draw a card, play factory cards, enter the market, use a card effect, and market clash. And then discard down to 7. So the first thing that's going to happen is he would normally draw a card, but the first player doesn't draw a card, so he's just going to play with the cards he has in his hand. He gets to play 1 factory card, and in any orientation. So it's in the facing left, facing right now. So it's making 3 factory points. So he can use that to play cards.
So I'll play 1 factory point to play that, and 1 factory point to play that.
Good. Okay. So he used 2 factory points, and now he has to rotate that card clockwise 90 degrees. Now he can use the card effect of any of his market cards, or any of the 4 neutral market cards that are in either of the markets. He can't use card effects from that if Henry had cards in the market, but he can use any of his effects that he has.
All right, so I'm going to look at the top 5 cards of the deck.
He's going to use his data mining card. So look at the top 5 cards of the deck, of your deck. So look at the top 5 cards of the player's deck and take one of them and replace the others back to the player's deck in any order. So he's looking through his player deck and the top 5 cards, and he's going to take one card from his player deck and then replace the other 4 back on top of the player deck. Any card effect of a player refers to the player's card and discard, and any market card that refers to the deck or discard refers to the market deck and discard. Okay, so he's used a card effect, and to trigger a market clash, he would need to have 3 cards in the market, which he doesn't have yet. So, you don't have more than 7 cards in hand, so he's going to pass the player to Henry, who now is going to draw a card. And you can play a factory card for free.
I'm going to play
So
a 13.
it's going to play a 13.
Okay. And I'm going to use the 13 to play this 13.
Yep. So now, a factory card in facing left or facing right generates 3 factory points, or it can generate 0 factory points and instead play a card of its value. Any science, technology, or any science, knowledge card, or service card. Technology cards cannot enter the market. Only non-technology cards can enter them. Non-factory cards can enter the market. So he used his 13 to pay for the 13 of science into that first market. All right. So now you get to use a card effect.
I'm going to use this entertainment service. So all players draw a card. So that.
Yep. So he's choosing to use the entertainment services, where all players draw a card, then all players exchange a card in their hand with the top card of the deck. So all players, no. So anything that refers. Oh yeah, no. All players draw a card from the deck, though. So this would be the market deck. All players would draw a card from the market deck. And then all players exchange a card in their hand, that is in your hand, with the top card of the market deck.
Okay.
Okay, so that's happening.
Exchange. Put it there.
But it can be any card in my hand.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Okay, so that's the card effect that Henry chose to use, and now he can't trigger a market clash because there's not 3 cards in the market, so play would pass to.
And at the end of turn.
Oh yeah. So even though a market clash wasn't triggered, thanks, Henry. And even though a market clash wasn't triggered, any upright, upside down or upright factory card can rotate 90 degrees clockwise. So, and also any card that has been used to pay for a card can't be used again in the market. So you can only use the card either to pay for. Play a card in the market or to market boost. Okay, we'll talk about market boost when we come to a market clash. Okay, so play goes to Rich, and Rich is going to draw a card, and he gets to play a factory card. So this is turn 2 now, round 2. Okay, so he chooses to play the 4 of technology. Now he has a total of 6 factory points at the moment, so he can play up to 2. He can play up to 2 factory. He can play up to 2 market cards in any of the markets in a turn. So he played a 4 of science, and he's playing 3. Now so we see here that. The 4 of technology can be used to pay for its value card, the 4 of science, and this card makes 3 factory points, so it can pay for that value 3 knowledge card.
Okay, so now for a market effect, I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to say 13.
Okay, so he's using the cryptography effect, which says name a value, a card. If any player has that card of the name value, they discard it. Then
You pass it
pass
to
it
the
to
left.
the left, yeah,
Draw a card.
and then draws a card.
Do you have any 13s?
I don't.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Right.
And then I'm going to trigger a market clash over here.
Yep.
And I have a pair of ones.
Okay, so Rich is going to trigger a market. Now, the way a market clash works is when a player reaches 3 cards in a market, they can trigger a market clash. And the steps in a market clash are all the players form the best poker hand they can. Now, you can form a poker hand with less than 5 cards. So Henry could form he forms a poker hand technically, but it's just a high card 9. Rich is going to form a poker hand with the cards he has in the market, the 2 neutral market cards, and up to 1 factory card that is upright or upside down. But because he used those cards this turn to pay for cards into the market, he can't also use them to boost a market. So he would only be able to use these 5 cards. So he has a pair of 1s. Henry has just a high card 9. So Rich is going to win this market. He's going to get a point. So he's going to set the die here to show that he's got a point. And he can then, Henry, the player on the left, if you're playing with more than 2 players, but in this case it's just a 2-player game. So Henry is going to get to choose one of these cards that must be discarded.
I'm going to discard this
He's
one.
going to discard the 1 there. Okay, and he may discard one of the 2 market cards and replace it with another market card. So you're going to choose the 5 here. He's going to discard that card and then take a new market card out, and it's the 6 of knowledge. Okay, and then if Rich were to have more than 7 cards in his hand, he'd have to discard down to 7. And then Henry goes, and he is going to and also in the at the end of the market clash, any card that is, even if it's been used this turn, any card that is upright or upside down could turn 90 degrees, even if a market clash wasn't triggered that turn. So Henry's going to draw a card to start his turn.
I'm going to play a 1 so I can have 6 factory points that I can use. I'm going to use this 6 factory point to play a 2 and a 4.
Okay, good. And so notice he rotated his cards 90 degrees clockwise, generating 6 factory points, and the value 2 and value 4 card, they sum equal to 6 or less. And he chose to play both of them into this market, but he could have played one in each market if he so choose. He can now use a card effect from any of his cards or any of the 4 neutral market cards.
So I'm going to use this effect,
Mhm.
artificial intelligence. So I'm going to review the top card of my deck.
Okay, so the cards, the effect says reveal the top card of the player deck, Henry's deck, and he can draw that card or replace any of these neutral cards. There's 4 neutral cards in play with the revealed card.
I'm going to choose to draw it.
So he's going to choose to draw it into his hand. Okay. Now he doesn't have 3 cards in either market, so he won't be able to trigger a market clash.
And at the end of turn,
However, even though he didn't trigger a market clash, any factory cards that are upright or upside down can be rotated 90 degrees. So Rich has 2 cards that are upright and upside down, and he may choose to rotate them 90 degrees in preparation for the next turn in order to make factory points for him to be able to play stuff on the next turn. Okay, so he chooses to turn one of them. And now, if Henry has 7 or more cards in his hand, he'd have to discard down to 7. He doesn't. Okay, so then the play passes to Rich. He's going to draw a card. Okay, he chooses to play the 2 of technology, and he's going to pay. He spends 3 factory points, so he has to pay for it with. He's going to choose to pay for it by the 4 of gear there. And note that because that.
Yeah, okay.
because that was used to pay for it. He's moved it to the back of his area, so he reminds himself that he can't also use it to boost a market that turn. Okay, now he can choose to use a card effect of any of his cards or any of the neutral market cards.
Let's see.
Now, he can't choose to use the card effect of a factory card, but he can choose to use any of his market cards or any of the neutral market cards. And remember again, when a card effect of any of his market cards refer to his deck, a deck or discard is going to refer to the player's deck or discard, and any of the neutral market card effects are going to refer to the market deck and discard.
Okay, so let's try transmutate. We're going to exchange a neutral card in play with the bottom card of the player deck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Very good. Okay, and now you can trigger a player can trigger a market. He could, if he had 3 cards in both markets, he could trigger 2 market clashes. But he has 3 cards in this market clash, and he could choose. He doesn't have to, but he could choose to trigger a market clash here.
I will do that.
Okay, so because he has 3 cards here, he's going to choose to trigger a market clash, and then both players, or all the players, if there are more than 2, would then form the best hands they could. With their market cards, the 2 neutral market cards, and up to 1 boosting factory card in that market that is in an upright or upside down position.
So I think I have to play this, right? Otherwise he has a higher kicker, but if I play it, I have a pair of 1s and he can't beat a pair of 1s.
Okay, so Rich declares that he has a pair of 1s here using the upside down factory card to boost that market. So again, he has the cards that are the crucial cards to make the hand are the pair of 1s. Henry doesn't have anything except just the high card 9. So Rich is going to win this hand, and he's going to go to two victory points there. Hands that are ranked 3 of a kind or less get 1 victory point. Hands of ranked better than 3 of a kind get 2 victory points. And then he must rotate his card by 90 degrees because it was used in the market. And then Henry, the player on the left of Rich, gets to discard one of his market cards.
I discard the 1 here.
Okay. And you don't have to, but you may discard one of
I'll leave the neutral cards.
Okay, he's going to leave the 2 neutral cards in play. All right, and then if any player has more than any player who has a market card that's upright or upside down can then turn 90 degrees if they wish. So Henry chose to rotate his card, and Rich, if he had more than 7 cards, would discard down to 7. Okay, then play passes to Henry.
Draw a card.
Okay, and he can play a factory card. On his turn, he chooses to play the 5 of technology. And now he has 3 cards that are in the horizontal position, so he's generating potentially 9 factory points.
Okay, I'm turning 2 to generate 6 factory points to play the 6.
Okay.
And again, I'm using the same card effect. I'm going to review the top card of the deck, and I will choose to draw it into my hand.
Okay. And he doesn't have 3 cards to trigger a market. Now, even though a market clash wasn't triggered, both players may rotate any of their upright or upside down factory cards by clockwise 90 degrees. So Rich is going to choose to turn his his 1 of technology, the Internet of Things, by 90 degrees, and so does Henry. Okay, so I think we'll call it here. So thank you for watching this video. I hope this gives you a sense of how to play. Be sure to check out the Gears of Industry intro video, which gives you an introduction to the game, and also the full playthrough guide, which goes into step-by-step detail, reading through the rules of how to play. So this shows you kind of a live session of people playing the game, but the play guide walks you through the game step by step as well. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed and got a better sense of how to play.